Hi, I'm Irene, and this is Inkworks, where art and anecdotes converge, looking both right and left for incoming watercolors, gouache, inks, and pencils, before chugging along its merry way. Like a Portlandian four-way stop, where each driver politely gestures, "You go." No, you go. Except this isn't Portland. It's South Puget Sound, Washington. But more about that later. Today is a pen and ink day, except I don't have a whole lot to say about the two pens here. They aren't even mine. They are actually on loan from my brother, and I believe he got them from Temu. I think that's another AliExpress type of online retailer, but I fully admit my research was cursory at best. All I know is the first pen is listed as a Muji aluminum fountain pen, and the second one is listed as a retro brass mini fountain pen, and they were each less than $10. I scrounged up a couple of ink cartridges, flushed them out, and refilled them with inks of my choosing. Monteverde's Rose Noir and Lami's Crystal Topaz. The aluminum pen is slim, smooth, and lightweight, while the brass one is also slim but heavier. It also has knurling and is compact with a cap that acts as a barrel extender. Although I've been told people are nicer in Oregon, I haven't spent enough time there to form my own opinion. As far as I know, Oregonians are much like Washingtonians, just with fewer professional sports teams. If that were a text post, it would be followed by an emoji sticking its tongue out. You know, to show that I was just teasing. Because it's not my jam to roam the internet being trollish. Cheeky? Yes. Antagonistic? No. Not sure why I'm talking about this, unless it's due to the realization that I've spent 3 decades online. In that time, I've seen my share of misunderstandings, hot-headed clashes, and full-out flame wars. So believe me when I say, what a delightful group you all are, the Inkworks viewers. Because the feedback you've given has been helpful and informative, thought-provoking and encouraging. Sure, there's an occasional sourpuss, but you know what? Those are tiny pebbles in the sandals of life. You shake 'em out and continue on with renewed determination. Or something. Look, I was trying to be all philosophical, but my brain power has petered out, which does not bode well for the remainder of this video. But we will carry on nonetheless. Wow, that sounded heavy. I promise there will be no dramatic denouement in this session. Speaking of heavy phrases, the other night we enjoyed breakfast for dinner, and the phrase, "the last pancake," was uttered. Maybe it's just me and my history of growing up with 7 older siblings, but it struck me as a dramatic chipmunk moment. You know. Dun, dun, dun. That's right, I'm referencing a 15-year-old meme. The point is, I'm sure that some clever person out there could write a brilliant script for The Last Pancake that would go on to win all of the Oscars. But the best we came up with was, hey, the You and Your Effing Coffee guy should start a new series called, "Are You Gonna Finish That Last Pancake?" Yeah, that was our hot take. Brain power, I tell you. So Oregon was on my mind because Well, it's sort of convoluted, but when has that ever stopped an Inkwork story? In a recent conversation, my sister revealed to me that she and her husband did not care for the food at Ivor's Seafood Bar. That's a local fast casual restaurant chain. And boy, hearing that was like a dagger in my heart. Because I'm a big fan of Ivor's clam chowder. And while their basic fried fish isn't anything special, as part of a complete meal including chowder, fish, fries, and slaw, I think it's pretty darn satisfying. Plus, how could you not love their tagline, "Keep clam"? That said, for people who are used to catching and cooking fresh fish and seafood themselves, well, I can understand how they would feel underwhelmed. Add in the fact that Ivors keeps raising their prices, and I almost felt like apologizing for having talked it up to begin with. You might be wondering, but Irene, how does this tie into Oregon? Well, it reminded me that the best battered and fried fish I've ever ordered was in Portland. It was at one of their food truck pods, and the stall was called the Frying Scotsman. The French fries, or chips as they say, were nothing to rave about, but the fish, my goodness, that was delicious. Even now, 10 years later, I can't stop thinking about it. I've only been to Portland a few times, but what I've seen has me wanting to go back. They have the coolest bookstore, Powell's, that carries both new and used books, and they're nicely organized in sections, even entire rooms for every genre. Saint Honoré Boulangerie has wonderful sandwiches and pastries. And for lovers of historic homes, the Alphabet District contains a number of late Victorian relics, beautifully preserved, making for a delightful drive through the hills. There's a fantastic Saturday market that I believe runs from March through December. And for a fun day trip, Multnomah Falls is about an hour's drive east on the Columbia River, with several scenic spots along the way. That's my unpaid, non-sponsored promotion for Portland, Oregon. And to think, it all started with fish and chips. The venue here is a Midori MD notebook in the A6 size. The paper is a soft cream color. I don't have information about the thickness and weight, but I'm guessing it's around 70 or 80 GSM. A flexible cork cover keeps it protected. Well, the exterior is thin cork, and the interior has a soft lining or felting. That cover was crafted and sent to me by Sarah of Sarah Bailey Arts, and I love it. It fits this size perfectly. Somehow I had wound up with a handful of A6 notebooks, and after assigning each one to a specific task, this one was likely my smartest decision. I mean, I enjoy doodling, and there are plenty of pens and inks to showcase. Gonna attempt some math here. Bear with me. Okay, so there are 176 pages, but I'm only using one side of each sheet, so halve that to 88 pages. Then each spread takes up 2 pages, so this notebook can accommodate 44 doodles. Yeah, I can see filling it up in about 2 years. And to those who are saying, but what about that Magello Journal series you still haven't finished? Quiet, you. By the way, the Flying Scotsman name is a play on words. There is an express train that runs from London to Edinburgh called the Flying Scotsman. It's been operating for 100 years, and that's pretty amazing. But there's another rail service that features in my travel dreams, and that's the Royal Scotsman. That one is a luxury experience that offers 2 to 7 night itineraries through the Scottish Highlands. You get to tour castles, have afternoon tea, play golf, sample whiskeys, and fill your art journal with line and wash sketches of bens, glens, and lochs. Of course, I am well prepared. I've seen The Wicker Man, Local Hero, Incident at Loch Ness, Dog Soldiers, and Brave. But there's one movie I hadn't heard of before, Whiskey Galore. That title popped up during my research, and it sounds right up my alley. Neither of these pens were very comfortable to write with. They're just a tad too slim for me. Although I couldn't make out any markings indicating nib type, I expect that both were fine. Although the Muji aluminum performed better than the retro brass, I wouldn't designate either as a go-to option. But these aren't really targeted toward me, I think, but rather someone who's looking for a slim or compact pen to fit in their essentials only, everyday carry wallet or pouch, in which case either one might fit the bill. The inks are not new to me, and I really like both of them. They actually came via a monthly subscription, specifically True Phase Inkmeister box. But in these pens, they didn't flow particularly well. I had cleaned and feeler gauged things ahead of time, but I may have been too timid about it. A feeler gauge is a tool with thin metal sheets of varying thicknesses. It's used for measuring narrow gaps and, in the case of fountain pen nibs, to spread the tines for better ink flow. Later on, I'll also try these pens with other inks and see if that helps. For those who are curious, I'll add a link to the True Fay Inkmeister content down in the description. I only did a handful of boxes last year, but you can at least get an idea of what that experience was like. At the time of this voice recording, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and I am sipping coffee and nibbling an English muffin. As far as brain power goes, that's my peak. The other day, while writing a letter to a friend, at one point I wrote "o'clock." Well, I had to stop and ponder, because I expect that term is hardly used anymore. 9 a.m. or 9 p.m., but not 9 o'clock. What is this, the 1900s? Then I thought, to heck with it. It'll just add to the charm of this old-fashioned letter. Now I should maybe explain the phrase, to heck with it. But at this point, we're likely down to those last two viewers who are here because they told themselves, "I'm finishing this if it kills me. Mama didn't raise a quitter." Well, my thanks to the both of you for helping to keep this boat afloat. What's that? You want to know how to give even more? That's easy. Simply hit the like and subscribe buttons, turn on notifications for this channel, and maybe check out my other socials like Instagram. Then in the comments, you can post an annoyed emoji and "easy my foot." I am happy to 1. Share this doodling session, and 2. Overshare my fantasies about food and travel. It all ties together because I swear there are exotic salad components in that doodle spread. Don't pretend you can't see them. Until next time, stay well fed, my friends.